Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and today we're doing my Project 10 uses and my No Pan Left Behind update for August. I feel super rusty even though I just filmed last weekend, but I feel awkward sitting down today. So if I'm a little bit off, it's just because I feel off. But we are looking at these two projects together. So the premise between both of them is that my Project 10 uses, I started doing that one because I was neglecting items in my collection because of panning. So what I ended up doing is I took some select categories in my collection that I was, like I said, neglecting, and I have them in a roulette wheel and I randomly draw those things in for 10 uses. Number one, it helps me actually touch everything in my collection, but also it lets me know, did this product change or do I need to declutter it? Is it not good anymore? Does it not work for me anymore? So it is a way for me to also test out all those little bits and pieces in the larger sections of my collection. Then we have my No Pan Left Behind. So that is an eyeshadow part. So of course I am trying to touch and use every single eyeshadow in my collection. So I am rolling in palettes. At this point in the year, I'm not really randomizing them anymore. I'm kind of pulling in some seasonal stuff, holiday appropriate stuff as we roll closer to October, but we will go over the eyeshadows that I was able to use. And also at the end of this video, I do show all the eyeshadow looks that I was able to create with the palettes that I used. Whew. Now that we got all of that out of the way, let me run my little intro, let me get all my stuff together, and we will be right back because we're going to start on my Project 10 uses. All right, so for my Project 10 uses, the categories that I have rolled into my wheel are eyeliners, nail polishes, perfumes, which I forgot to grab my perfume, so I'm going to need to go grab that. Again, brain is somewhere else. But we have, like I said, eyeliners, nail polish, perfume, blushes, highlighters, and lip products. So those are the categories that are in my wheel that I can randomly roll in for 10 uses. But let me go grab my perfume real quick that was rolled into this project and I'll be right back. All right, I went and grabbed my perfume. So we are half and half on this update. I do have 10 items rolled in at any point in time. So we are rolling out 5 and we are keeping in 5. So that means that we get to draw 5 more products in on our roulette wheel. So let me open up my little spreadsheet thing here and we will go through our items. So the one that has been in the longest, and let me clean it off because it's super reflective, but I did have my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Ghost Edit blush palette, whatever the long name for this thing is. It is just a quad of blushes from Hourglass. Last time I did have 6 uses on this. I only needed 4 more, so I did get my 4 more uses on this blush palette. I really do enjoy these, and actually this one down at the corner here, this one has the most use out of all of them, and this one almost reminds me of a little bit darker version of Mood Exposure, so I really do love that blush down there. I'm going to try to leave enough room up here for my graphics for you guys to be able to see, because I do my pictures, I do my weights and my changes and all that stuff. You guys will see that pop up here, but that is the shade that I use the most, along with Brilliant Nude, which is this one up here. So I love this. I love the Hourglass formula. Wouldn't it be a day in history if I ever even hit pan on one of these? We will have to see if that ever happens in my future or if I end up ever reaching that goal. The next item that I'm able to roll out is going to be one of my nail polishes, and this is from I Love Nail Polish, and this is not Garden Grove. That is the Sublime song that I kept getting stuck in my head every time I use this polish. No, this is Olive Grove. It is a beautiful olive green with gold sparkles running through it. And so my last use on this one was actually when I filmed my deck of panning. I did have this polish on my nails. I ended up having to take a break from the nail polish because I ended up with a hangnail slash finger infection. So I had to get on antibiotics. So all of that is cleared up. And so I was able to paint my nails again, but I am trying to take care of my cuticles the best I can, which actually I probably need some lotion on my hands because, like I said, I did paint my nails earlier today and my cuticles are looking a little rough. So don't look too close at those. But the way that I do my nail polishes is that I consider each hand or each foot that I polish as one use. So that's either 5 manicure pedicure combinations. So I was able to get my additional, because I had 6 uses on this, so I needed to do 2 more manicures. I ended up getting that done with this polish, so this polish is rolling out. The next item that we're able to roll out is the perfume that I had to go grab, and that is my Burberry Her Elixir. And I love this, but it almost comes off too strong. So when I picked up, so this has a raspberry note to it. So there's the raspberry and the vanilla, but it doesn't come off straight raspberry. I don't know what the like header scents are in here. I mean, I really enjoy it, but it's a little bit, I wish it was more raspberry. So whenever I picked up the Ralph Lauren Beyond Romance fragrance, which is heavy on the raspberry, I have actually been really enjoying spraying this and that together to give me more of that raspberry note. But I did have 6 uses on this last time. I was able to use it 2 more times. So we do have our 10 uses on this perfume. Now, I could see myself decluttering this perfume to somebody else if they really, really wanted it, because I like it, but it's not my go-to reach. So I have found a way that I enjoy wearing this. I also like mixing this with the Billie Eilish #1, which is very heavy on the vanilla. So I like doing that, but otherwise this, I hope that I can reach for this a little bit more in the winter time. This feels more like a cold scent than a warm scent because this is a little bit heavy. But I was able to get my 10 uses on that, so that felt good. Then we had one of my Urban Decay liners, and so this is in Wild Side. This is just a sparkly pink, almost comes off a little bit coppery rose, well, not rose gold because my ring is rose gold, so that comes off a little bit more coppery. But this is in Wild Side, and I did have 7 uses on this last time. I was able to get those 3 additional uses, and I was able to get my 10 uses on this liner. I love the Urban Decay liner formula. This has been my first like ultra glitter one that they've had. So it is very soft, and you have to sharpen it pretty much every time you use it. But still, I've had this for a couple years now, and it is still super creamy, super beautiful. So love that liner. Now let's roll into, what am I missing? Let me go over, because there's only one more thing that is a rollout, so I'll go over that and then I'll look at my progress items. So the other one that I rolled in, I had a lot of liners last time that rolled in, and so I rolled in the Clinique Quick Liner in Intense Chocolate. This is a mini size, so this is not the full size. I got this in like a holiday set at the end of last year or the year before that. And so this is just the one that is in brown. I really do like the Clinique Quick Liners for my tight line because once I put them up there, they do not move. But the surprise that I had with this one is that it is now an empty. So I did get my 10 uses on this, but it is done. So like if you click it up, you can't click these back down. So it is rolled all the way up. We are completely flush with the packaging there, and this is an empty. So this goes into my empties bucket to discuss in my buys and buys for next month. And so a very surprising empty. I know as minis, these are like you're trying out the formula in that gift set. So I was expecting it to be a mini, but I wasn't expecting it to go as fast as it did. But the brown one is the one that I like using the most. So that also kind of makes a little bit of sense. Now we're going to roll into the things that are progress items. So let's look at more eyeliners, because like I said, we rolled in like 5 eyeliners last time. But I do have my eyeliner, my Urban Decay eyeliner in Smog, and this one is more of that like bronzy, like burnished bronze kind of shade. And actually, I really have been enjoying using this in my tight line so that my blue eyes kind of shine with that bronziness in my tight line. But this was just rolled in last time, and I already have 6 uses on it. So 6 uses out of our 10. So this is going to stay in 4 more uses. We will see. This will definitely be a rollout for next time because it is not hard for me to reach for that. Another Urban Decay liner. So this is in Stash. It is a dark kind of army green right there. So this one also I love wearing in my tight line. If I'm going for more of an earthy tone type of look, I really like this one in my tight line, again, to really help my eyes maybe turn a little bit more green when I want to do those looks. But this was rolled in last time, and I already have 4 uses on this. So we have 6 more to go. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do that, especially depending on what I end up rolling in for my palettes. We will try to get a little bit more grungy as we are rolling into September and when we're rolling into the fall. So we will be using this an additional 6 more times. Then we have my ColourPop liners that rolled in. So this first one here is in Crystal Tokyo. I actually have this in my look today. And again, I have been enjoying this on my actual waterline. This beautiful blue, but it's a duochrome to green. That's the shift. So that is kind of like the green metallic shift that I end up getting out of this one. And like I said, I've been enjoying wearing this in my tight line. I do have it on my lower lash line, my tight line, and actually on my upper lash line today with this more blue look that I'm doing. So I have been enjoying this one. As far as the uses, I've only had 3 uses on this. It is a blue shifty eyeliner, so it's not something that I can wear with everyday things, but still 3 uses in a month. That feels pretty good for me, especially because looking at my next eyeliner, I don't think I used it at all. So this one here, yeah, so this is ColourPop's Wild Idea, and this is actually one of, they like tote this as one of their duochromes. Now this one broke on me last time, so this one is already drying out, which is the fate of a lot of ColourPop liners. So it's this green, but it shifts to a teal. And so it does have like a green to a gold to a teal kind of flip to it. Now that does not really show up on the eyes, unfortunately. You get a lot of that green gold that comes through on this liner. And like I said, it already has started to crumble, so it's already starting to get dry. Now, like I said, I did not use this at all. And mainly I think it's because I just didn't have the color story to go along with this one. I don't mind wearing this one on my lower lash line whenever I do a green look, but I just have not had a green look that I've been doing. So this one here, we still have our 10 uses on this one. With it drying out and with it not being as impressive as I was hoping it would be, this could be a contender for a declutter by the end of the year. So we will see, but let me at least get some uses under my belt on that liner before I make a decision. Then we had a nail polish that we rolled in, and that was from Holo Taco, and this is Bring Me the Teal. Now that is the teal shade that I have, but I do have a unicorn flaky on top. So the pink that the shift and the pink that you're seeing is going to be the unicorn skin. Cosmic unicorn skin. It's the cosmic one. And then I do just have a silver polish from the Mooncat Star Wars collection on my ring finger. But I do have this on my hands today, and so I've had a total of 4 uses on this so far, so we need to do 3 more manicures / pedicures with this shade. The cremes are not my favorite. Basically because I will always end up topping them with something. So if I can already have a sparkle mixed in with a polish, I'd rather just have like a one-time deal rather than having to do 2 coats of creme, then top it with like a flaky, and then top it with a top coat. It makes my nails quite thick. But I mean, it is a beautiful opaque polish and it is a beautiful color, so I will continue to use this and I will get my 6 additional uses on that one. So that was our 10 items that we rolled through. Let me put all this back in the basket so it's not rattling around, and then we will pull up my wheel and we're going to roll in 5 more items to bring into this rotation. Okay, so we have my wheel pulled up. Let me go ahead and do my screen record. Oh, and I like to do it vertical so that I can edit it properly into my video. So we have my wheel, and like I said, we're going to do 5 picks. So let's do roll in number 1. Ooh, that is loud. Let me turn that down. Summer Fridays Butter Bomb in, no, I do not want to rate right now, in Cherry. All right. That one will be super easy to get 10 uses on because I love the lip butter bombs. But let's go with roll number 2. The Urban Decay liner in Overdrive. That is a beautiful teal that, again, I love using that one on my tight line. Pick number 3. The shade number 2 in my Tarte palette, that is the one that I am working on for my Project Pan. So I don't want to use a spot in this project for that highlighter because I'm using that highlighter more than 10 times a month anyway. So actually I'm going to roll again because I don't want to basically hold a spot for something I'm already using. So let's look at, oh, ColourPop I Need Space. That is a good one. That is a blush that was in collaboration with Kathleen Lights way back in the day, and I actually have pan on that blush, so that'll be exciting to get 10 uses on that. Let's roll, this is roll number 4. The Quick Liner in Intense Midnight, so that's the Clinique one, but in navy blue. And one more roll, let's see what it gives me. Becca Moonstone Mini. I think, again, I'm going to veto that one because that one will very, very soon get repressed into my highlighting palette. So I kind of want to leave that one as is. So I'm going to roll again. And again, this is my project. I can do it with, ooh, Chicklet. That one's gone. I used that blush up already this year. But yes, it is my project. I can do what I want with it. Let me roll again. Finally, the Essence blushes are coming in. Okay, so we're going to do the Essence blush in Beloved. Alrighty. So we have our 5 items. Let me stop my screen recording. Let me grab these things and I will show you what we ended up rolling in. All right, we're back and I have my items. Actually, I picked my wrong lip product. This is the Fresh Kiss Lip Balm in Watermelon from ColourPop. It is not that one. It is my Summer Fridays. So let me put that one back. And so we have the Lip Butter Balm in Cherry, and this is just the red one. And let me see. So it just has that color. So it does have some pigment to it, but once it's on the lips, you're not really seeing a whole lot of color. But what I love about this, well, I love a red glossy lip that isn't necessarily like, if this gets on my face somewhere, it's not going to be like a liquid lipstick or like a bullet lipstick that is like migrating in my face. So I like that about this product, but also like the scent of it is kind of like cherry slushy, but then it's also like the old kind of medicinal like cherry chapstick from when we were young. So like it's nostalgic, but it's good. Don't let the cherry chapstick from our youth scare you. It actually is a very nice cherry scent. It's not overdone, we'll put it that way. So we have that one. Then we have my Urban Decay liner. My hair is shedding. I washed my hair 2 nights ago, and then of course the calic at the back is doing its own thing. But this is, so if I'm good with my products and if I sleep in my bonnet, then my curls actually stay for a couple days. But the second I brush these out, they're gone. So we are rocking the curls. I'm not brushing my hair. I'm sleeping with my bonnet on. I'm trying to be good to try to get my curls to stay, but I'm still shedding everywhere. Back to this Urban Decay liner in Overdrive. Like I said, this is a beautiful teal shade. That one right there. And this on my tight line just makes my blue eyes pop so much. So I love, 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 love this liner. So I am so happy that that one rolled in. And then I'll do my other liner real quick, and then I'll do the two blushes. So this is the Clinique Quick Liner in Intense Midnight. Again, it is just a midnight blue, and this will be used in my tight line as well. That one right there. This came in the same mini set, so I'm almost curious how much product is left in this. I wonder if I weigh the two of these, like how much. This one feels heavier, but of course, like it is probably by like 0.02 of a gram or something like that. But I'm curious to weigh the two of these and see how much product is left in that compared to the empty blue or brown one. Wow. My mind went through all of the colors that start with B before I ended up with brown. But we have that other liner right there. We are going to do 10 uses on Intense Midnight. Then we had the ColourPop and Kathleen Lights, which it is pretty much all rubbed off on this packaging. But this is I Need Space. And as you can see, come on, I have a beautiful pan on this one. This blush right here is almost. So when I mixed the two sides of Chicklet together, I kind of ended up with a blush like this, because this blush does have a little bit of a sheen to it. Let me see, focus, yep, so right there on that finger. It has a sheen to it, and so it is a beautiful blush. It adds a little bit of that glow, but it's not too much. It's not like a blush lighter. It just has a tiny bit of that sheen, and this gives that same beautiful, like sunburnt kind of cheek look. So I am very happy to have this rolled in. I actually reached for this on my own quite a bit because I do love this color on my cheeks. So it'll be not difficult at all to reach for this blush an additional 10 times, and we will get to see if the pan expands at all. And then the Essence blush in Beloved. So this is my blush palette that I have made myself, and all four blushes right here are the Essence blushes. So the Essence, the blush. So it's, I know it's Beloved, Believing, Befitted, and no, this one's Bespoke. And then this one I think is Befitted. But this one all the way over here, this really, really pinky one, this one is Beloved. So this one here is going to be the one that we're going to be getting our 10 uses on. I don't think I've rolled in any of these other Essence blushes so far this year in this project. So it'll be fun to go ahead and get some more use. The other blushes down here, I think I've rolled every single one of these into this project already. So we have NARS Orgasm, we have Makeup Geek Desire, and then I have my two Franken blushes, which would be, trying to remember which is which. This one down here I think is Cleavy, and this one up here is Rowan, or they're flip-flopped. I can't even tell. But that is my beautiful repressed blush palette that I absolutely love. So those are the items, those are the 10 things that we will be working our way through. So I really need to figure out what I want to do with the liner from ColourPop, which is this one right here, which, oh, where's my hand? So that swatch right there, that is I Need Space. So it, like I said, it has that little bit of sheen to it. It is absolutely stunning. So yes, I need to figure out what I want to do with that other ColourPop liner, because I have not reached for it just because I know it's going to be dry and I don't want it to like crumble into my eyes. So that one is definitely on the list for a possible declutter. And then we will just be using the rest of those eyeliners, and then of course I need to be painting my nails a little bit more. But we will have some good rollouts on next update, because of course this will be an easy reach and this will be an easy reach for next time. But let me go ahead and put up all of my products for my Project 10 uses. Let me grab my stack of palettes right back there, and we're gonna go over my No Pan Left Behind. All right, so I have my palettes. I grabbed my little rack from back there because we are going to make sure that it is filled up. And then I do have 4 palettes that I've been able to use every shade. And then we have some other progress on the rest of the palettes from last selection. So let's go, I don't even know what order. Let's just roll out the palettes that I have already completed. So this one was very easy for me to get done, and that is going to be my Viseart Petite Pro in Apricot, and that is this one right up here. So this is in this Z palette with the remnants of my ColourPop Give It To Me Straight. And so I actually really did like reaching for both of these together, and that's why I ended up putting both of these palettes in this Z palette together, is because they are similar color stories with that warm undertone. So the Viseart formula is beautiful. I think that you can't miss with Viseart. I think that if you are the everyday consumer and you want, because some of the shimmers are subtle, where some of the shimmers really do pack a punch. So you really just have to see what type of formulas they have in there, but especially their petite line with these smaller pans. This is the way to go. And I have had to stop myself from purchasing other petite palettes, mainly because I don't need the color stories, because I have those color stories over and over and over again in my collection. And actually this project has helped me realize what color stories I have in my collection. So this has been extremely helpful with me not purchasing more palettes this year, but I really enjoyed that. So I did use all 8 of the shades in that, and I of course dipped into Give It To Me Straight a little bit. I finished Give It To Me Straight earlier on in the year, so that one was just kind of freebie extra uses if I needed to reach into another matte. Then we have, I'm trying not to make too much noise by my microphone, but we have the Pat McGrath Utopian Dreams. This is the Mothership 10, 9? Yes, the Mothership 9. There's so much weird stuff written on the back of this, and of course she uses Roman numerals, which, like, I know how to read Roman numerals, but like, we don't really use those in our lives much nowadays. But this is the color story in this one. It does have the 4 kind of special shades. Well, I would kind of say the 3 baked special shades, and then this one here is just a duochrome. It's kind of that chameleon shade where it goes to, I can see green in there. It's not wanting to necessarily shift on camera, but this does have like a green flip to it. Let me get one of my towels before I end up wiping this on my leg, which I wouldn't mind rubbing it on my leg, but I do want to self-tan later, so maybe not so much. But it really is these special shadows down here, especially this purple and this pink. I mean, they're glitter toppers basically, but the shine and the impact and just the beauty that these add, that's what everybody was raving about with Pat McGrath formulas, were these special shades. So, I mean, I was able to use every shade in here. There's not really any duds. There's only 3 mattes, which I'm okay with because you can build a really good base. So you can either go a little bit warmer or you can stay a little bit cooler with these. But overall, this is a beautiful palette. I don't regret having it in my collection. Of course, I bought it on sale years ago. Do not ever buy Pat McGrath full price. At this point, I'm like, I don't even, like, is Pat McGrath, are the palettes even relevant anymore? But if you are just lusting after a Pat McGrath palette, do not ever buy it full price. They are not worth it full price. So that is my 2 cents, but I am very happy to have it in my collection. The next one that I was able to get done is the seasonal palette that I rolled in, and this is the Too Faced Italian Spritz, and this is what we're looking like on the inside. Beautiful warm tones with those splashes of blues, and so I had a lot of fun with this palette as well. And it has that lovely, like, citrus, almost mimosa type of scent to it. Like, you can smell a little ting of, like, alcohol for the Italian Spritz drink, and it is just lovely. The whole experience of using this is lovely. I will say, I think I mentioned this in another video, but the thing that I've now noticed about Too Faced shimmers is that these shimmers are thick with, like, multiple C's. put a bunch of C's at the end of thick. And these are probably not the best formula for me with my quote-unquote aging eyelids. So I have to be really careful when I am using the shimmers out of Too Faced palettes because they have substance to them. These are not the thin shimmers. Actually, if I could say a thin shimmer, I would say Pat McGrath has thin shimmers. So compared to how these feel with how chunky they are, the Pat McGrath shimmers are a lot thinner. So Pat McGrath is on my pinky, Too Faced is on the other ones. Like, you have to pick up a whole lot more Too Faced shadow to get the same impact that you would out of a Pat McGrath shadow. So when I am putting these on my lids, I know these are going to crease every single time. It does not matter how I apply them. If I want a decent amount of impact from these shimmers, you almost have to pack them on, but then you end up with that creasing. So I think for me personally, as much as I love Too Faced mattes, and I actually just rolled the chocolate gold into my deck of panning, I think that I am beyond Too Faced formula now. Like, I don't know if Too Faced came out with another palette, if I would feel as drawn to feel the need to buy it. So I think with other more sophisticated formulas out there, Too Faced is just lacking. So it's a beautiful palette, it's a fun experience, but I think that those shimmers are just too heavy for my eyes nowadays. But I was able to get every shade used, so that is another check mark in my spreadsheet. The last palette that I was able to use completely, and this is the palette that I have on my eyes today, so I needed to use 2 additional shades. I was able to use those. So that is the Urban Decay Stoned Vibes. Beautiful packaging. What's super sad about this, so this is the inside. They have these beautiful marbled special shades. These marbled shades were really, really popular. I think they were in like Huda Beauty palettes. And so this kind of like where you can see the mica sparkle in it. These got really popular a couple years ago, many years ago. Let's not just say a couple, many years ago. And so this was Urban Decay's kind of answer to that. It is beautiful. I think that this palette has dried out. These are not performing like I remember. Maybe I need to scrape off the top layer, but this palette might actually need to be retired. That makes me, it makes me sad because the packaging is beautiful. I found it kind of difficult to reach for this palette because once I realized that the shades were kind of dried out, like I was kind of like, oh, I guess I need to get a shade used in that palette today, and I would reach for it. But as far as me being like, oh, I can't wait, because Tiger's Eye, Vibes, Raw Energy, and Meditate, those 4 were my favorites, and they are just not doing what they used to do. I think Tiger's Eye is the only one. Like, again, they're toppers with a bunch of that mica sparkle, but Tiger's Eye, I think, is the only one that is still delivering something that I want. So if I end up just popping that shade out and putting it in a Z palette, I don't know, but I think, and I have always hated the 4 mattes in this palette. So this one also might be a declutter / kind of like going into the makeup archive graveyard. This one might be going bye-bye at the end of the year. I will have to see how I feel about that. But those were the 4 palettes that I was able to get used completely. So the Viseart, the Stone Vibes, the Italian Spritz, and then the Pat McGrath palette. Let me put these behind me and not blind you with Pat McGrath. Let me put these behind me so I don't drop them, and then we'll go over the 3 palettes that I have progress on, and then we will fill my little tray up that I have in front of me. All right, I got my trusty little book, so we're gonna look at my little panning graphics for my palettes, and we will go over this one here. I'm so close on, and so this is probably going to be something that I will use the next time that I film, which is going to be Monday. I'm going to film, and so I'll use my minis palette because I only have 2 shades left in this. So this is all of my Natasha Denona minis, and the only shades that I have left are this pink one and this gold one out of retro and gold. So those 2 shimmers are the only 2 left that I need to use with all of these minis. So I will go ahead and I will get this one done in the next video that you guys will see. And that'll be a very pretty gold and pink look for me to use. But I loved having all of these together and kind of mixing and matching. So if I wanted to do, actually one time I ended up doing like the mustard from Metropolis with this army green from gold. And then I ended up pulling in a little bit of this green from retro. And then I popped this shimmer down here from Mini Love. Like I loved mixing and matching and dipping into all these. So I am very happy that I depotted all of mine. I will say it for the 100th time. Depotting Natasha Denona minis is not for the faint of heart. Do not try it unless you are extremely experienced with depotting. That's all I have to say about that. But we have 2 more shades to go in that one. Next one is my Cosmic Beauty Muse palette. I'm actually having a little bit of a hard time reaching for this. And it might just be because of how colorful it is and with me needing to go into the office more, but I'm getting a little bit more relaxed about that. And by relaxed, I mean I don't care. So I'm getting a little bit more like that nowadays. So I feel like I'm going to be reaching for this and doing those grungier fall looks as we're rolling into September. This is also going to look really, really nice with some of the shimmers that or not shimmers, some of the liners that I have rolled into my Project 10 uses, but hopefully my graphic is popping up. I've used a smattering of shades, but I still have quite a bit on this palette to do. And this palette has actually been in for 2 rotations now. And I think I've said every single time that this feels more fall to me. So I was kind of like holding on to this one into September to do some more of those more grungy type of looks. And then the last one that we ended up rolling in is the Natasha Denona Retro. And actually, this one I got done. So this one needed to go with those other 4 palettes as one that I have completed. So this one had rolled over from last time. And so it is just our mauve color story. I think I only had a few more shades to use in this one as of last update, and so I did get the rest of retro used up. You'll see my graphic, and the ones in like the light peachy color, that is everything that I've used in August because the light peachy color is my August color. So I was able to get this done. So there's only Muse and the 2 shades from my mini palette. That's all that I had left. This was a really good month for eyeshadow use and makeup use. So let me go ahead and put this back behind me also, and then we will look at, I had already pulled some palettes into my little bracket thing here, my organizer. I've already pulled some palettes in, mainly because I wanted some more neutrals to mix with some things. But let me put this down and we will go over what's already in my organizer. What's up, dude? Nope. 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 And say, that's Anara's face. That was Washburn's face. So they're getting a little bit antsy. So we're going to finish this up so that I can let them OS and they can go do their thing. So we have Muse as taking up one of our spots. I think I told you guys last time that I have 7 spots in my organizer. The palettes that I have rolled in already is going to be my Tati Beauty Volume 1, and I've already gotten some use on this one, and so this is our color story. Now, I don't do the glitters at the top, just because that is my own personal choice not to use these glitters. I know that they're eye safe, it's just not my thing. So the glitters do not count, but everything else does with the matte, the sequin, and the metallic row in this palette. So we will go ahead This is starting to smell like chemicals. And I know that this palette is old. I know eventually this will also go into the makeup vault of memories. But when I opened this palette to use it today, because I did use some of the mattes from this one. Actually, I used these two sequins. So I used these two to set up the crease. It smelled a little bit chemical-y. So this might be the last rotation for this palette before it goes into the makeup vault, the makeup memories for that palette. Otherwise, like I told you guys, I have the Too Faced Chocolate Gold. This rolled in for a prompt in my deck of panning, and so this is going to be a No Pan Left Behind goal for this one, but it is taking up a spot on my organizer. And then I pulled in 2 more Natasha Denona palettes. So before we would get into actual fall, I wanted to go ahead and get Natasha Denona Love done. So this is the Ready Purple palette. I've already used a few shades in here as well to do a look, and so we are going to be working on Natasha Denona Love, and we're also going to be working on the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude, just because this has a lot of really good staples that if I have to go out and meet my clients, then this is what I'm going to pull for, so I can have more of a neutral kind of eyeshadow look when I am meeting with my clients face to face. So let me put these palettes back into the organizer and let's see how much space we have. So we have space for 2 more palettes. What do I want to do? Okay, let me tell you guys what I have left. So we have Natasha Denona, My Dream, Yucca, and Ruxa. And then we also have Metropolis, so the big one. I have my 24 pan, that is all of my lethal singles. I have the Cosmic Beauty Gothic palette, but that will be October. Then we have Trick or Treat and Merry Christmas. Of course, those are also going to be, and Basic Witch from Bella Beauté Bar. Those are all going to be seasonal, so those will roll in later. We have Rich Romantic, which I think I want to pull that one from Glaminatrix, and so that one might be coming in. I do have the 6 pan from Bridgerton and Pat McGrath. That's the first one that they did in the blue packaging. So I have that. I have Too Faced Pumpkin Spice, but that will roll in like November time. So we have time for that one. We have Urban Decay Honey. That one I think also is going to be later on in the year. So I'm okay with that one hanging out. Then we have ColourPop. We have In a Trance, which that one, I have not thought about that one. So that one might be on a chopping block to declutter kind of later on. It's a pastel palette, and pastels are not what I reach for the most. And actually my Natasha Denona pastel palette is actually my least liked palette from the Natasha Denona mid-size range. But we have the In a Trance, then we have the Child palette, Mando, and C3PO. I have more hair on me that is tickling me. So we are actually looking really good. Now, I told you guys, and let me grab it in case you missed that other video, but I did depot 2 of my Urban Decay. So Naked Wild West, I almost said Naked Cowboy. No, Naked Wild West and Naked Ultraviolet. These 2 I depotted, and like I said, they were super easy to depot. But I don't have these on my actual like graphic in here, and that's because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these palettes. I think what I have come up with, because there's room for 1 more Urban Decay palette in here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to condense these 2 and kind of get rid of the shades that I don't really like, which is a lot of these dark purples down here. They're just not that good. So I'm going to condense these 2 palettes into 1 row. Then I'm going to depot my Naked Honey and my Naked Heat and put those in here, and then I will just have 1 Z palette of all of my Urban Decay palettes that are like this. Especially if Stone Vibes gets kind of put into the makeup vault type of thing, then this will be all of my Urban Decay shadows in 1 palette, and that will make me feel good about my space, because I'm not feeling good about my space right now with the amount of things that I have. So that's kind of like, this is not even in the consideration for my No Pan Left Behind yet, until I get to the point where I have condensed these shades. Now that also goes, hold, for these two. So the Sultry and the Norvina from ABH, these are not in my graphic because my intent was to actually depot these and only keep the shades that I like, because I don't really like, I probably like half the shades in each. And these are old enough to where I would not want to like declutter these to somebody else, because these are too old. Like if I'm going to put these on my eyes, it's just going to go on my eyes. So I still need to work on these. It's just, I know that these are going to be a whole lot harder to depot because these are glued down into cardboard versus the Urban Decay ones were glued down into plastic. So that's what I'm doing with those. So I do have other palettes in my collection that are not being considered for this. That is a long way around of saying that I need to pick 2 more palettes and I need to figure out what I want to do. But because I do have those palettes in my inventory, and you guys would have seen them in my photos, I have them in my inventory. I just don't have them in my rotation because I don't know. I'm considering those kind of in purgatory right now. They are in palette purgatory. But let's look at, I think Metropolis, I'll roll that one in September because that is more of a fall time palette. So is my Lethal Cosmetics Singles palette, because that was kind of my rendition of doing like an earth tone or an earth sign palette. So that one is very, very earthy. But like I said, Rich Romantic, I think I want to pull that one in. And maybe we'll do the Bridgerton palette because it's a 6-pan and I'll be able to get it done. So let me grab those 2 and we'll put them in my little holder. So looking at my graphic and looking at like where I'm at, I actually feel really good about being able to touch all of my shadows this year. Makes me feel good about it. But this is the Glaminatrix Rich Romantic. So we have almost two complete rows of mattes, kind of a row of special shades, and then there's an extra shimmer right there. The thing that I have always said about this palette, and I don't know if I'll be able to show it, is all of the special shades turn a little bit green. So they all have a little bit of a green flip to them. So like that's the regular, oh hi, you're seeing all my stuff. So that is the regular shades that you guys are seeing. But when we look at the shift, they all shift kind of green. So you end up with a similar look from all of them, but it still is a beautiful formula. Now, when I talk about thin shimmers, this is what I'm talking about. When I go into these, you get so much pigment and payoff, and that looks like liquid metal on my finger, and that feels so thin. That is not thick. That it probably will still crease on me because I am 40 going on 41, but still, that is gorgeous. That is the payoff that I want. So when I'm looking at my Too Faced shades, I'm kind of like, you're coming up a little bit thin on there. So we're going to go ahead and add Rich Romantics to my little holder. And then we also have the Pat McGrath and Bridgerton palette. Really, if I had my way, if I was ever going to depot and destroy this palette, I would literally only keep this blue shade. I might end up repressing the pink shades into a blush because that would be a beautiful blush shade, because I've used those shades as blushes before, but really it is this blue topper that is one of her special like baked shades that is just absolutely stunning. Like it doesn't have any base pigment, so you're not getting that wow bam pow that you're getting here, but you're just getting that beautiful sparkle. And actually, if I really had my way with the eye look that I have on today, because again, those Urban Decay shades are not quite hitting the way I want, I would take a little bit of this and just tap it on top, and it just adds so much more sparkle. That is what I want. When I have a blue, sparkly, iridescent kind of opal type shade, I want it to come across like that. So That is how I feel about the Bridgerton palette. We're going to go ahead and use this. I usually can get this done in 2 looks, so that one will be super easy. But that is everything that we have in our little organizer. Let me put that back behind me so I don't drop any of my palettes, and then we'll be back to look at my eye looks. All right, I'm going to start here with my eye looks because I don't know where I would have left off, but this is starting on July 22nd, so we're going to go from there. But I did have this beautiful copper look with the Sunrise palette and the Bronze palette. Again, one of my favorite looks to do is going to be a bronze or a warm tone look, just because it does make my blue eyes just pop. Then we had a look with the Sunrise and with the Muse palette. And again, I love this because the Sunrise palette has that pink in there. And I think I may have talked about these ones in last videos now that I'm thinking about it, because it was that one shade. Is it Azalea? I don't remember what that shade is called, but there's that beautiful kind of duochrome shifty purpley pink shade in Sunrise, and that is the one in this look, and I love it to pieces. So I was able to go ahead and get Muse and Sunrise used. Then I did this more coppery look, and this was with Sunrise and Italian Spritz. Again, I almost feel like I can see it. I don't know how close you guys end up getting to the screen, but I feel like I can see that the shimmers are thicker in this picture and a little bit more textured on my eyelids. And that is just because of the thicker shimmers in the Italian Spritz, but still it does make a beautiful look. And then I don't think I took a picture of this one, but whatever was this, I don't know, whatever video I did where I had my dupe of the mini gloom. Apparently I didn't take a picture of that look, but I did dupe out the mini gloom with my own singles, and then I had that on during a video that I did film. So we have that look. Then we are rolling into this nice neutral look, and that was with the Viseart Apricot palette. Again, beautiful, you can't go wrong. Again, the shimmers here look lighter on my lid, and so the Viseart formula is a little bit, they do have some thicker shimmer formulas in Viseart, but really you're just going to get that nice wash of metallic. So I do love that one. I did this look with the Stoned Vibes palette. Again, nice and kind of ethereal, light looking, very, very pretty. Then I have this look with the Pat McGrath palette. You're going to get a pink look out of that look. Wasn't it like everybody was complaining about this for years and years, that like, oh, Pat McGrath is coming out with another palette. I guess it's going to be pink. So you're going to get nice pink looks out of that palette. Here I did a little bit more of an intense pinky purple look. Oh god, that one's beautiful. So this was with the Pat McGrath palette, and with my minis, probably I was reaching into the Mini Love palette whenever I was doing this one, but that is a gorgeous, like, I need to recreate that. I forgot about that look. That is so pretty. And then I did this look with the Mini palette, and this one, it has a little bit of a shift to it, so that almost looks like one of the like the Mini Retro or the Mini Zendo, like those shimmers in there. That would be really pretty also. So this one is with the Natasha Denona Retro palette. It is an all mauve palette, so you're going to get those pink mauve looks. Here is another look with the Apricot palette, a little bit more, the other one was a little bit more bronze. This one is the apricot shades in there that are a little bit more apricot, so they lean a little bit more orange, but again, I still love those warm looks. Then I did a look with the Stone Vibes. I think this is with Meditate and maybe Vibes, because it does lean a little bit more purple, but again, that palette just is not performing like it used to. So I did dip into the Muse palette, and I did this beautiful green look. Again, I love greens, so that one was super fun. Here is, so I actually wore this look filming a video, and I don't necessarily like how it turned out, but these were the remaining shades that I needed to use in the Italian Spritz palette, so I just slapped them all on my eyes and tried to get something that looked good. I would not recreate this look. It was not my favorite at all. And then I did have this look with the Muse palette, and I am seeing how swollen my under eye looked in this picture, and my under eye got even worse after that. So I've had 3 reactions in that one eye to products, and each time I have a reaction, it gets worse. I was swollen all the way down here. The first time, it was just a little bit on the under eye. The second time, it was just a little bit lower. This time, my whole cheek was swollen. So, my doctor's working on it. I appreciate, I know some of you guys dropped some suggestions down in there about a few things. My doctor's working on it. He's ordering some things to do some more allergy testing on me to see what I am reacting to in those particular products. But again, I did not react to the actual products in the Muse palette. That one is still beautiful. And then this was with the I Need a Nude palette. So again, a very nudie, cool-toned leaning look. And then another look with the Pat McGrath palette. I think I used not one of the special shades. This was just the regular pink shimmer that's in that palette. So I did this look. And then I did another look with the Pat McGrath, and that's using the gold special shade in the Pat McGrath. And so that was that. Then another look with Tati Beauty and with the Stoned Vibes. And actually, I think if I'm looking, no, I think that's just my phone. I thought I had the blue liner in my waterline, but I think I just have my normal nude liner in my waterline for that one. Then since I used so many of my palettes, I actually rolled some of my palettes in earlier this week. And so I did a look with Love, a pink look. You're going to get pinks, reds, and purples out of that palette. So beautiful. It's still the formula on that, even though that is my oldest Natasha Denona palette. That was my first ever Natasha Denona purchased. It still performs beautifully. So love that one. And then I did another gold and green look out of my mini palette. And then let's see here. Then yesterday for work, I used the I Need a Nude palette, and this one I do have the blue in my waterline. So it's not like in your face blue, but it's enough that it's kind of an interesting thing in my waterline. And again, it just helps my eyes pop a little bit more. But I do have that look with I Need a Nude. And then today I have the look that I have on today with the Tati Beauty, where I set up the mattes, or actually the sequin shades in my crease, and then I use those last 2 shades from Stoned Vibes. That's what I have on today. So that wraps up all of the looks that I was able to create last month. We have some amazing palettes back there to use. I'm super excited to dive into more of those, and especially, again, kind of re-familiarize myself with Glaminatrix formula, just because that is the only palette from Glaminatrix that I own, and so I want to kind of see how I feel about it, because it's been probably a year since I've used that palette. But that is what I have for you guys for today for my Project 10 uses and my No Pan Left Behind. Inara is making so much noise trying to get comfortable over there. Does anybody else have dogs that will circle a bunch just to find the perfect spot to lay down, even though they're circling on the same dog bed? Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yeah. But she'll dig in the dog bed, she'll circle 14 times, and then she just lays down in the same spot that she would have if she just laid down in the first place. But hey, I'm not going to tell her how to live her life, because she probably would look at me with judgment in her eyes, because that's what female dogs do. So, but she's snuggling with her brother over there. So I completely lost my train of thought because my dog was being cute. Welcome to my life. So, I feel like I'm in a good spot with my palettes. I actually feel like I'm going to be able to get all of them kind of touched, because we still have September, October, November, December. So we still have 4 months for me to be able to reach for all of my palettes. So that makes me feel quite good. Also, the fact that I've only bought 2 palettes this year is helping a lot. Now, I will say that in my inventory and in my spreadsheets, I do have my Ensley Rain palettes, and I told you guys before that I'm not going to feature those on my channel, but of course I am going to try to use them because I paid money for them and they are in my collection. So I will just be using those off camera myself, and I'm not going to report back about those ones. So that's kind of how I feel about those, because again, you guys would have seen them in my inventory pictures, but they're not something that I'm going to come on here and discuss. But that's where we're at. I feel good about it. And I'm excited because my husband's taking me out for dinner tonight. So a little bit of a date night. But that's all I got. I'm going to encourage you guys to do all of the YouTube things. Go ahead and hit a thumbs up on this video if you guys are enjoying my content. If you are new or lurking, consider hitting that subscribe button. I do project planning, conscious consumerism. I talk about my beauty budget. I use what I have. I'm intentional about what I bring in. So if you guys need to be like talked out of buying some things, this might be a good place for you, or some accountability. This might be a good place for you. But otherwise, of course, my puppy dogs pop in from time to time, and I do some get ready with me's where I do just psychobabbles, where I just talk about stuff or answer questions that you guys have. So if any of that sounds interesting, or if my personality or putting me on in the background while you clean is helpful, then hey, hit that subscribe button, stick around for more. Of course, drop your comment down below. Let me know how you guys are doing. I know a bunch of you guys have finished your project or your No Pan Left Behinds already for the year, which is fabulous. I know a lot of you guys started a rendition of a Project 10 uses, even like a Project 5 uses to work through your collection. So you guys are going to have to let me know how you're doing on your goals and on your projects so that I can cheer you on down in the comment section. But I'm going to go ahead and go. I do appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with me, especially on these longer videos of mine. But I hope that you guys all have a beautiful day, and I'm going to catch you in my next one.